Let me begin with a question. What do you do when life knocks you down? What do you do when the winds blow harder than you expected? When the plans fall apart, when the dream delays, when it feels like everything around you is pulling you down. Here's the truth: life doesn't ask you if you're ready. It just shows up. It brings struggle. It brings disappointment. And sometimes, yes, it brings pain. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay down. You don't have to collapse under the weight of it all. You have a choice to rise. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wimp, but you can change yourself. That is something you have charge of. You can rise it not because the path is easy, but because you decide to grow stronger than the obstacles. You can rise it not because others carry you, but because you build the muscle of resilience and responsibility. You can rise because within you is the ability to choose discipline over defeat, faith over fear, growth over guilt. Now let me tell you, most people don't fall all at once. They fall gradually, with small decisions, tiny compromises, one excuse at a time. And then one day, they wonder how they got so far from their dreams. But the same is true in reverse. You don't rise in an instant. You rise with small wins, with daily effort, with uncomfortable choices made on purpose. And that's the decision this message is about. To rise anyway. To rise when it's hard, to when it's slow. To rise when everything in you says, maybe it's easier to just stay down. But easy won't change your life. Comfort won't give you growth. And excuses, they build walls, not bridges. So today, I want to walk you through what it really means to choose to rise. Not just once, but again and again and again. Because rising isn't an event, it's a lifestyle. I want you to remember this as beginning. It's not the fall that defines you. It's what you do after that sets the course for your life. So if life has knocked you down, or slowed you down, or confused you, this is your moment to reset, to recommit, to rise. Let me tell you something I've learning. Change doesn't begin when the world gets easier. It begins when you get stronger. And strength, it starts with a decision, not a wish, not a maybe, not a let's see how it goes, but a firm, committed, inner decision. Everything changes when you decide to change. People often ask me, Jim, when does your life begin to turn around? And I say, the moment you decide it has to. Not when the calendar changes. Not when someone saves you. Not when the circumstances align just right. But when you say, no more. No more wasted days. No more excuses. No more waiting for the world to get easier. That's the moment the climb begins. Because you don't rise by accident. You rise because you refuse to stay down. Now here's a powerful thought. Most people are waiting for something to happen before they decide to change. But that's backwards. The decision comes first. Then the progress shows up. You don't wait until life feels good to take action. You take action, and life begins to feel better. You don't wait until motivation arrives. You create motivation through movement. You don't wait for confidence to show up. You build confidence by showing up. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. The decision to rise is not about your current conditions. It's about your future conviction. You see, you don't rise with feelings. You rise with clarity. Clarity says, I'm tired of falling. Clarity says, I want more from life. Clarity says, let's go. Now I'll tell you something else. Big decision making is a habit, and most people haven't practiced it. They drift. They wait. They let days pass them by, hoping life will just improve on its own. But let me say this clearly. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And do you know what they have planned for you? Not much. You've got to take charge. You've got to say, if I want a better life, I must build it, not hope for it. Build it. And that begins with one powerful moment of decision. There's a fire inside of you. It might be buried. It might be dim, but it's still there. And when you decide, you wake it up. You give yourself a new standard. You create internal pressure to move, to act, to become someone better. You start to see time differently. You stop tolerating your own excuses. You stop being okay with mediocrity, because now you've made a decision to rise. And that decision gives you something more powerful than comfort, purpose. Let me be honest with you. The decision to rise isn't made once. It's made daily. When you're tired, when you don't feel like it, when nobody's watching, you make that decision again and again. And every time you do, you become a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more prepared for the next mountain. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And the first of those disciplines is deciding, I will not fall back. I will rise forward. So here's the message, plain and simply, your rise begins when you decide. Not when someone gives you permission, not when conditions are perfect, but when you say, enough is enough. I'm going to be stronger than my excuses. I'm going to lead my life, not follow it. I'm going to rise. And if you make that decision today, right now, not only will your future thank you, your present will begin to shift, because decisions create action. Action creates momentum. Momentum changes everything. So stand up, straighten your back, look yourself in the mirror, and say, this is the moment I choose to rise. Here's the truth, nobody makes it through life without falling. Nobody. Not the best, not the smartest, not the most disciplined. You're going to fall. You're going to stumble. You're going to get knocked down. But the great question is this, will you fall backward or will you fall forward? One leaves you broken. The other builds you stronger. It's not what happens that determines the quality of your life. It's what you do about it. Failure, my friend, is not personal. It's part of the process. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you're on the path. But see, the fall is only dangerous when you fall with no intention of learning. Some people fall and stay down. Others fall, but while they're down, they take notes, they ask questions. They observe what went wrong. And then they get back up smarter. Falling forward means you use the setback to push your momentum, not lose it. Now let me share something with you. Every time you face a setback, you've got two choices. You can take it personally. You say, this always happens to me. You shrink. You complain. You blame. Or you can take it professionally. You say, what can I learn from this? You grow. You adjust. You rise. The first leads to bitterness. The second leads to wisdom. And wisdom, my friend, is what you need if you're going to rise above the ordinary. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. You want to know the greatest classroom in the world? Failure. There's no better teacher than a broken plan, a missed goal, a rough fall. But most people don't sit through the class. They drop out early. They give up when it gets uncomfortable. They never ask, what is this trying to teach me? But let me tell you, if you'll stay through the discomfort, you'll earn a degree in wisdom most people never reach. The lesson is always there, but only for those humble enough to look for it. Falling forward means you don't throw away the whole dream just because one part didn't go as planned. Too many people abandon the entire mission because of one detour. No, adjust the path, not the purpose. You didn't fail. You got feedback. You learned what not to do. Now refine it, tighten it, do it better. The major key to your better future is you. So keep your vision clear, but allow your method to evolve. The one who adapts advances. Let me give you a thought. You don't grow when everything is going well. You grow when you hit resistance. It's in the bounce back where your mind gets sharper, where your resilience gets tested, where your purpose gets refined. The greatest version of you won't show up when you're winning. It'll show up when you're wounded and you decide to stand anyway. It'll show up when you don't quit. When you say, this fall isn't the end of me. It's the making of me. That's falling forward. Be careful not to fall with excuses in your pocket. Excuses cushion the fall, but they block the lesson. Say, I could have done better. I missed the mark. I got distracted. I didn't prepare. When you accept responsibility, you take back power. You're no longer a victim. You're a builder. And builders can fall, but they always rise again, stronger. So let's wrap it up with this: falling is not the problem. Staying down is. If you're gonna fall, fall forward. Fall with a notebook. Fall with curiosity. Fall with enough courage to ask, what did this moment come to teach me? Because if you do that, you won't just survive the fall, you'll use it to climb higher. Rise doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence. It comes from humility. It comes from the decision to fall forward. Every single time. You can do this. Let's keep going. Let me tell you something I believed for years. You don't rise with your body first. You rise with your mind. Before the discipline shows up in your habits, it must take root in your thinking. Before you get stronger physically or financially, you must get stronger mentally. Your personal philosophy is the major factor in determining your level of success. The most important battles you'll ever fight won't be out there in the world. They'll be the ones inside your own head, battles between comfort and commitment, between doubt and belief, between fear and courage. You rise when you conquer those. You rise when you say to yourself, no more self-sabotage, no more limited thinking, no more small mindset. You rise when you tell your mind what to do, instead of letting it tell you who you are. Here's a powerful shift. Most people wake up and listen to themselves. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I don't feel ready. But champions, those who rise, don't just listen. They talk to themselves. They say, I'm built for this. I can figure it out. This setback won't stop me. This is my time to rise. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. So yes, speak life to yourself. But back it up with daily mental training. That's how you strengthen the most important muscle you've got, your mindset. The mind is like a garden. And every day, seeds are being planted. The question is, are you planting weeds or wisdom? If you feed your mind gossip, fear, negativity, and noise, don't be surprised when it's hard to grow. But if you feed it discipline, learning, motivation, and truth, your mind becomes a powerful machine for success. Read the right books. Listen to the right voices. Surround yourself with the right energy. Your rise depends on it. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Because if you don't, someone else will walk in and decorate it with doubt. You want to know how mental toughness is built. Not once, not overnight, but through repetition. When you show up daily, to think higher, to speak better, to believe deeper, your mind begins to reshape itself. What used to be fear becomes focus. What used to be procrastination becomes purpose. But you must train it. Day out. One disciplined thought at a time. Let me give you a warning. Some people let their past become their ceiling. They say, well, I've never done that before. I always quit. I'm just not that kind of person. Listen, you are not your history. You are your potential. You are your choices. And that starts with how you think of yourself. So stop rehearsing failure in your mind. Start rehearsing victory. Start visualizing the rise. Start expecting better days. Because what you think about, you move toward. You rise when you decide to take control of your thoughts. You rise when you stop being casual with your mindset and start being intentional. You rise when your mind becomes a force that pushes you forward instead of pulling you back. The mind is your steering wheel. Train it well, and it will take you anywhere. So today, deciding, I will think better, I will believe stronger, I will rise, one thought at a time. And remember, you don't just train the body, you train the mind first. That's where your true rise begins. Let me tell you something I've learned over and over again. You can be doing everything right, working hard, showing up, reading the books, but if you're surrounded by the wrong people, your progress will be slow or even stolen. Because success doesn't just require effort. It requires environment. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. We don't just catch colds. We catch attitudes. We catch beliefs. We catch habits. Hang around lazy people. And guess what happens? You start to find excuses instead of results. Hang around complainers, and soon your problems grow louder than your vision. But hang around disciplined, focused, positive people, and you'll start rising without even realizing it. Because energy is contagious, and you must protect yours. If you want to rise, you've got to audit who's in your life, not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. Ask yourself, who pushes me to grow? Who drains me with drama? Who challenges my excuses? Who fuels my fire? If they're not helping you climb, they might be holding you back. This doesn't mean you hate them. It means you protect your momentum. Some people you can only take to lunch, not to your future. We live in a world of noise, notifications, opinions, distractions everywhere. And if you're not careful, people will pull you into their chaos before you've even built your clarity. That's why you must be intentional about your space, your time, your mind. Turn down the noise. Close the tabs. Put up the boundary. Because the person who guards their focus gains their future. Here's a hard truth. Sometimes the people who love you the most will doubt your dreams the loudest. Why? Because they're scared, not for you, but for themselves. They see your growth as a mirror to their own stagnation. So they'll say, why work so hard? Don't set your expectations too high. Just be realistic. But listen, your vision is yours. Not everyone needs to get it. They just need to respect it. And if they can't, then you must rise without their permission. You have to be willing to do what 95% won't do to live like 5% will. Let's flip it now. Because this isn't just about removing the wrong voices. It's about finding the right ones. You want to rise. Get around people who challenge you, who call you higher, who remind you of who you can become, not just who you've been. Find those who speak life, not gossip. Those who share ideas, not complaints. Those who see potential, not just problems. And then lock arms with them. Run with them. Grow with them. Because success is faster in the right company. If you want to rise, you've got to get serious about what you allow into your space. Because not everyone can go where you're going. You can love people from a distance. You can stay kind without staying stuck. And you must remember, the people around you will either stretch your vision or shrink it. So protect your energy, guard your inner circle, and create an environment that honors your elevation. You don't rise alone, but you must rise intentionally. Choose to surround yourself with those who push you higher. Let me tell you something very personal. There is no feeling quite like it when you finally look around and realize you're no longer at the bottom. You're not stuck anymore. You're not trapped in excuses. You're not drowning in the noise. You're rising. You've become not perfect, not finished, but different. Because the person who once doubted is now disciplined. The one who once complained now contributes. The one who once waited now works. You've climbed. And what you see from the top isn't just the view. It's the proof. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. Let me say this plainly, the houses, the titles, the income, those are nice. But they're not the real trophy. The real reward is you, the strong you, the consistent you, the focused, faithful, future-driven you. Because the mountain doesn't change you. The climb does. Every step you took, every fall you got back up from, every decision to show up when it was hard, that's what built you. That's what made you worthy of the view. When you get to the top, something happens. Yes, you feel higher. But more importantly, you see clearer. You understand time better. You respect energy more. You don't chase every distraction. You've earned perspective. You start to notice who you used to be, what you used to settle for, how far you've come. And you no longer need applause. You no longer need permission. Because you've already proven something more powerful. You kept your promise to yourself. And that, my friend, is real success. Here's what happens when you rise. You start to realize it was never just about you. Yes, the journey was personal. Yes, the fight was internal. But now that you've climbed, it's your job to reach back, to mentor, to speak, to guide, to become a model of what's possible. Because someone out there is still stuck in the valley. They need your wisdom. They need your story. They need your example. We must each be students, but we must also be teachers. Don't hoard your climb. Use it to light someone else's. Now listen closely. There's a trap at the top. Pride. You start to think, I made it. I'm above them. I'm done growing. That mindset, that's the beginning of the next fall. So stay grounded. Stay grateful. Stay teachable. Remember, your growth didn't happen in one leap. It happened in daily disciplines. Keep those. Protect those. Because what you do after the win matters just as much as what you did to earn it. Let me leave you with this. The version of you that you're living today, if it's the result of excuses, fear, and hesitation, then it's not the true version of you. It's the result of neglect, not design. But the version of you that rises, the one who builds, learns, gives, grows, that's who you were meant to be. And the view from the top, that's the reflection of every small win, every moment of belief, every time you chose purpose over comfort. It's not about reaching the peak. It's about becoming the kind of person who belongs there. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference. So now that you've seen the view, what's next? You keep climbing. Because growth has no ceiling. There's always another summit, another level of character, another place to give, another life to touch. This journey, it doesn't end at the top. It begins again with purpose. You've risen. Now rise again. Because you were never meant to fall and stay fallen. You were always meant to rise and lead. And now it's your time.